Good morning and happy Halloween, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 31st. I'm John Weigell here with Juliet, Bennett, and this is the Hustle Daily Show. I don't own any baseball cards. I was kind of more of a Pokemon guy back in the day, but the sports trading card industry is about to get more Pokemon influence than ever, might I say. Topps, the famous trading card company, just inked a deal with the Westminster Kennel Club to display dogs on their own set of trading cards. So what's the trading card market like right now, and is this a golden ticket for Topps? We'll get to that in a bit, but first, here are today's hits and headlines in business and tech. All right, first up, more layoffs are here, and this time they come from Dropbox. The company said it plans to cut 20% of its global workforce at 528 employees in order to, as CEO Drew Houston says, make the business more efficient. I've heard that one before. Next, in some very inducing real estate news, ADQ, an Abu Dhabi sovereign wealth fund, has now officially acquired a minority stake in Sotheby's with a cash infusion into the real estate business of $1 billion. ADQ will have 3 out of 9 representatives on Sotheby's newly formed board of directors. From there, we go to food. Starbucks, more specifically, Starbucks, amid threatening corporate employees to return to the office, as we talked about earlier this week, is also paring down its menu nationwide. So starting November 7th, you can say goodbye to your oleato or olive oil infused drinks. Honestly, didn't even know they had that, so not a big miss for me. Juliet, have you ever tried one of these olive oil drinks?
I did. I don't know. It was fine. A lot of people are very mad about it. They think it's really gross. They say that it causes them gastrointestinal distress. I thought it was fine. It's very similar. I think if you're one of those people that got really into like bulletproof coffee, where you were like, I think it's like a butter almost that they put in there, or like if you add MCT oil to your coffee.
Oh, I've heard about that.
It's just more fat, which, isn't for everyone. And honestly, here's what I wonder about Starbucks. I think about this all the time. Starbucks is always trying new stuff, and it's always like extra sugar, extra this, extra whatever.
Right.
Why don't they just do the espresso tonic that all the other coffee houses are doing? Where is the tonic? That's what I make at home. And Starbucks does not have it. And yet we'll do stuff like put olive oil in coffee. Why?
I'm so removed from the coffee world that I honestly have no idea what an espresso tonic is. Could you explain that to me? Well,
according to a couple of people I know, it is absolutely repulsive.
Okay,
but
great.
It's just like espresso or cold brew with tonic water.
That is what I assumed, and I really wish it wasn't the true one. Because that sounds gross, yeah.
So you have to have the palate for it, is what I tell people who are like, let me try that. And they're like, this is disgusting. You have to be the kind of person that like likes bitter stuff.
Okay.
Like, you drink whiskey neat. If you're somebody that's like, I want a mocha chip frappuccino and I drink amaretto sours, it's not for you. But if you're a bitter palate person, earlier today, I had some 100% dark chocolate. Like that's like no sugar.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're of the bitter tribe. You really like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got to be into it. But the thing is, I see it on a lot of menus. I made it at home for a long time, but now I'm seeing it on mostly like third wave roasters. But I'm just saying, I think Starbucks could get into it, and I think it could make it more palatable for some people by adding a syrup. I think some people put like an orange syrup in it, so it's kind of like a cocktail. Yeah, I'm just wondering when Starbucks is going to do it, because it seems like the next trend that I am seeing.
Yeah, that's something that's new to me, but a trend that I've been seeing is like the chugacchino thing, which is I think like a mushroom latte, mushroom base. So wonder why they haven't gotten into that yet either. This olive oil drink though, fascinating. Unfortunate about the gastrointestinal issues, but I guess nobody has to worry about that anymore. Just take an olive oil shot every day, like an Italian grandmother. You'll probably live longer.
Yeah, and I think it was an Italian thing. They were trying to do an Italian-inspired thing. But the thing is, I mean, no matter how much they try to be French or Italian, they're just not. They're very much a commercial chain. So it's not super going to work out.
Yeah. All right, from there, we go to other chain news. Chipotle is now claiming their profit margins suffered quite a bit last quarter due to their effort to provide, quote, consistent and generous portions. Customer satisfaction with the brand, though, is up quite a bit, according to their CEO. And yeah, that totally makes more sense. You give me more chicken, I'm going to have a better time. And finally, if you're looking for a job, this could be some good information for you. Wallet Hub recently ranked the top 3 and bottom 3 states for job seekers. If you want to know what they are, we'll tell you in the bottom of the 9th inning of the pod, which is right after the main story today. With smaller budgets, shorter timelines, and sky-high expectations, growth is feeling pretty painful right now. But HubSpot is here to help. They just announced more than 200 major product updates that'll make impossible business growth feel impossibly easy. Like Breeze, HubSpot's suite of new AI tools that help you say goodbye to busy work and hello to better work. There's Breeze Copilot, a sidekick to assist you with all your tasks and boost productivity, Breeze Agents to automate manual, time-consuming work and add expertise, and Breeze Intelligence to give you the richest, most comprehensive picture of your prospects so you know which are most likely to become loyal customers. They've also reimagined their marketing and content hubs with all new ways to create breakthrough content, updated features, to generate better leads, and lots more to uplevel your marketing and your revenue forecast. Get ready for growth without the growing pains. Visit HubSpot.com/spotlight to see them all and demo for yourself. Okay, so speaking of the main story, dogs on cards. That's our big story today. While the World Series has been going on all week, all we've been thinking about is if dog trading cards are going to be a gold mine or not for trading card businesses. So, Juliet, what's the kind of origin of this dog card idea?
This is actually more interesting than I thought it was going to be when I started reading about dog trading cards. It actually dates back to a tobacco company, Allen and Ginter, although we have learned that some people on Reddit think it's Allen and Ginter. We don't know. Take your pick.
Yes.
It's like GIF.
Yeah.
And they actually were making trading cards in the late 1800s, but their trading cards did not just have sports stars on them. They had entertainers, famous actresses, birds, flags, world leaders, all sorts of different things that people could collect. So this actually is not necessarily the first time a dog has been on a trading card. In fact, I was reading an interview in Sports Illustrated with Topps Senior Vice President of Product, Clay Larachki, who said that he had a set of tobacco cards that had English Bull Terriers on them as a kid that he had framed on his wall. So the idea of trading cards that have something other than a sports figure on them, or I guess in more modern times, I think I have seen K-pop trading cards.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it is pretty old. It reminds me of a Viewmaster when you used to get oh, look, it's the Grand Canyon.
Oh my God, a Viewmaster.
Yeah.
The OG VR headset, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
The subject of an upcoming major motion picture as Mattel tries to capitalize on the success of Barbie, Viewmaster. Yes.
Yeah, that's a pretty steep origin story. And I guess this having dogs on trading cards or having other things besides sports players on trading cards is nothing new. But trading cards, primarily within my knowledge in the US, have been sports-based a lot of the time, especially from this company, Topps. Of course, I mentioned up top, there are other things like, Pokemon, Digimon that some of us grew up with. But the primary driver, it seems, for Topps is these sports cards. And what does that industry look like? How much do they generate? And is it still as profitable or more profitable than ever?
Yeah, the global trading card market, according to CNBC, in 2023, was worth $44 billion. So it's not small. And they think that that is growing, actually. According to data from Verified Market Research, it is expected to approach $100 billion in 2027. So people are buying trading cards. Now for Topps, so Topps is, of course, a trading card company. Fanatics acquired it in 2022. Fanatics brought in $1 billion last year, and $640 million of that was baseball card sales. So baseball cards do make up the lion's share of at least Topps's income, but they clearly think that they can double down on Topps and turn a profit with dogs.
Yeah, and it seems like this partnership with Westminster could potentially sell very well. I mean, we know the popularity of the Westminster Dog Show and all these dog shows that happen every year, as well as the popularity of just trading cards in general. And we've talked about recently on the show how people are a lot more pet-minded these days, especially post-pandemic. And there's been a big surge in pet spending. So this could be quite a cocktail for success if they get bought.
Yeah. And, I didn't find a lot of pricing information, but there's 40 different cards. They all feature dogs that won Best in Show, which if you know a lot about the dog show, the dog wins based on how closely it matches its breed standards. So there's 7 different categories. You got sporting, hound, toy, terrier. Those 7 dogs go head to head for Best in Show, but they're not necessarily competing with each other. They're competing against their own breed standard. So you get a wide variety of dogs. You've got a mini poodle, you've got a Pekingese, you've got all sorts of different dogs. They're going to have 40 cards. And some of them are going to be especially rare, relic cards that contain pieces of the ribbon or pieces of the handler's winning lapel. So I think there's a sort of gamification here for people who are really into the dog show. Westminster seems to think that this will make it more accessible, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because there is this perception, I think, that the dog show is like almost very snooty. Like, I think it's parodied a lot with like the dog handlers being very like high maintenance and, like, this is my prize winning Pekingese, like, I think there's this vibe about it. But I was looking up tickets, and if you can get yourself to New York, they're not that expensive. I think last year the cheapest ticket was only $36 to go to the dog show. So
not terribly bad.
Yeah, it kind of sees itself as more accessible. I think maybe trading cards are associated more with like blue collar activities. So I don't know. I could see somebody thinking like collecting dog show cards was like a very quirky hobby. It does not, though, have the same gamification as you were mentioning as like Pokemon cards or Magic the Gathering cards. Because obviously we're not going to have these dogs fight.
No, not even in card form.
Weird and illegal. Yeah, no, I don't like it.
But you make a good point about the dog shows. Even though the ticket seems quite cheap, there seems to be an air of affluence around these shows. And these cards are really diving into some super niche. Like New Yorker just published a story earlier this year about the dog shows. And it seems these dogs, to be groomed and set up and put on campaign to be top dog in their gene pool, seems to be hundreds of $1,000s investment to prep your dog for this kind of event. So there is money there. Money is floating around, and it seems this niche category could be potentially interested in spending a little more on some trading cards.
Yeah, I would like to know, once it's kicked off, I want to talk to somebody who collects these trading cards, and I want to know why. Like, what is it about do you frame them? Do you keep them in a box?
Where do you put them?
I have so many questions.
Where do they go?
And I'm just somebody who doesn't collect things. Like, I think the closest thing to a collection I have is like maybe I have like a collection of t-shirts, but obviously I wear them. So I want to know all about people who collect dog cards.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a very open-minded way. I'm not saying like I think this hobby is silly. Like, I think it's really fun, and I want to know like what the appeal is.
To me, it's not that different from baseball cards, because you imagine these cards that probably have some stats on the back, right? Like dimensions, events won, specialties. I imagine it would be kind of fun for people that are into this. But as a non-collector myself, I think the only thing I collect is groceries.
Right.
I think this would be an interesting market to pierce, and I'm interested to see if it does well for them going forward.
Me too.
All right, everybody. So welcome to the bottom of the ninth of the pod. And as promised today, according to Wallet Hub, here are the 3 best and worst states to find a job in. We'll start with the top 3 best. Number 3 on the list is Minnesota. Number 2 is Vermont. And number 1 is New Hampshire. Crazy that. And now to the bottom 3, number 48 out of the 50 states is Indiana. Number 49 is Louisiana. And number 50 is the beloved West Virginia. Good luck on the job hunt, everybody. And that's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in to the Hustle Daily Show. We're a proud part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. Our editor today is Robert Hartwig, and our executive producer is Darren Clark. We've got a ton more tech and business coverage in our newsletter. If you're not subscribed, go get signed up today at thehustle.co/email and throw us a follow on Instagram at thehustledaily. See you tomorrow, everybody. Collect those dog cards.
If you're struggling to keep up with all the latest innovations in tech and what they'll mean for your life, TED Tech has you covered. Get ahead of the curve with digestible downloads on some of the biggest ideas in technology, from AI and virtual reality to clean tech. Find TED Tech wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I've been listening to this awesome podcast lately. It's called Hustle and Flowchart, hosted by Joe Fear, and it's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. The Hustle and Flowchart podcast with Joe Fear is all about how to build a business so it gives you the freedom and fuel for your life. You can join Joe as he discusses systems, mindset tweaks, reframes, and strategies for entrepreneurs and really anyone, to be honest, to enjoy the process of being in business and also having fun. This isn't just for the entrepreneur looking to make $1 billion business, but it's also for somebody who's looking to build systems that work for you so you can make more money than you need just by working part-time, essentially. I was actually just listening to an episode he had on Kareen Walsh behind the app Hey Kareen, and Kareen talked a lot about how to scale your business effectively, especially if you're just a startup, especially if you're just an app startup specifically. It's an awesome episode. I would recommend it to anyone. You could check them out and you can listen to the Hustle and Flow chart wherever you get your podcasts.